The final week of August is here, and it's time to get caught up on all things Indian Hill Braves. We're here with Brian Phelps. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great. Another big week, and we're excited to get going.
Last week was almost kind of like a spring sports week with having to deal with weather issues all week. Boy, it's sure nice to have that behind us.
I'll tell you, some brutal days, some adjusting the schedule. Friday night ended up being perfect. I'm glad we played at 8 o'clock, and I think that was the right call. Really turned out to be nice. But this week looks like it will be a really good weather week.
Let's start off with the soccer, boys and girls soccer. We'll go with boys first. They had a huge win on this week. Let's talk about boys soccer first.
Yeah, Bay Village, I think they finished number 2 in the state at the end of the last year. Really good team, some really good players, well coached. I think it's just a testament to how strong our boys are. Had a nice win. They made the long trip down here to play, and it was a great soccer game. Hopefully it's a preview to what's to come later on in the year.
That sounds great. How about switching up to girls this week? It's like a excuse me, frog in my throat. Marymount Warriors come to town Wednesday. That's always a big match, CHL match.
Yeah, we've had some tough games to get the year started, and that's a pretty typical kind of scheduling that we do and our coach does to get us ready. And now it's league play. Marymount is always a rival for us, especially in soccer. And I think they're kind of like we are. They have some senior leadership, but they're playing some younger kids as well. So we're excited to get in the league play and host the Warriors of Marymount and see what happens on Wednesday.
And then Saturday they're heading to Tippecanoe, so go on the road and hopefully get some experience on that trip. Let's switch to football. Big win for Coach Rodenberg's club Friday at Northwest, and as you mentioned in the opening, switching to 8 o'clock. You kind of wonder what that's going to do, but it ended up being the right decision all across the city.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock, people were like, "Oh, we would have been fine." This is actually pretty nice, but what they don't think about it, it starts about 5:15 or 5:30, kind of getting ready and out on the field. So to kind of push that back an hour, most schools had some type of adjustment. It was the right call. You got home a little later than normal, but it's a Friday night and it's all good. So I think that worked out really well. And just the game in general was great. Started off a little slow, 7-7 at halftime, came out in the third quarter, put 28 points up. Just what I'm excited about is I think it was a preview of what this team can be. Some of our younger kids really stepped up. And it was just a lot of fun. Defense played great. We held them to less than 100 yards for the game. So a combination of the offense starting to explode and the defense coming up big was great to see.
One of the things I noticed in the third quarter is Northwest was cramping. It seemed like every third play, one of those guys were down, and your big offensive line just kind of flexed their muscle and showed their will. And like you said, 28 points in the third quarter was the difference. And defense, they were smothering, they were hitting hard, and it was just a really nice road win.
No doubt about it. And, I think when you're up, the cramps don't hurt quite as bad sometimes. And, some of those little nicks and bruises, you kind of suck up a little more. So it was just nice for our guys to put it all together.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Harrison comes over Friday night. Wildcats typically have a very strong program, and it's going to be a challenge for the Braves Friday night.
Well, one of the things that I heard when I first came here, and this is my 4th year, is, year after year, we typically had a pretty good season. It's like, we don't play anybody early. Well, we've ramped the schedule up. The first 3 weeks, are really the way that we want it. Obviously, we want to come out of those first 3 weeks as injury-free as possible. The game of football, just that happens. We know that. But Harrison will be a big test. They're big.
Yep.
I think if we put it all together, it's going to be a very competitive game. And then that'll springboard us into week 4 as we host Marymount. We're really excited to get into league play after this week.
Should be a great night at Tomahawk Stadium. Weather's going to be beautiful. So get your tickets at IndianHillBraves.org. Get out there and support the team because it should be a great night of football. Let's switch to golf. Looks like boys golf is just boom, boom, boom this week. But you know what? It's finally great weather to get out there and hit the ball. Country Day Monday, Wyoming Tuesday, Taylor Wednesday.
After a lot of invitationals to start the year, we're kind of in some duels and try meets, and it's amazing to say like golf's half over already, and we've only been in school.
And cross country just had their first meet. Yeah,
right, exactly. So, yeah, golf, continues to be led by Alex Holzapfel Sr. He's really played well every time out, and he has the opportunity to lead some younger golfers, some less experienced golfers, and we're just excited to see how the season plays out as a team, but also to see how far he can go as an individual as well.
Best of luck to them this week with those duels coming up. Let's switch to cross country, the sport that probably works the hardest over the summer, and their season starts the latest. They got to go up to Morrow on Friday night. How did that go, Brian?
Yeah, good night. Like we said about football and some other sports, I know some schools pulled out because of the heat, and between our trainers and our coach, Susan Savage, just really kind of monitored that to the very start. We went there knowing that if the conditions weren't right, we weren't going to run. The first priority was to make sure to keep our kids safe, and we put a lot of trust in our trainers and someone like Sue Savage, who is so experienced and
Sure.
Has our kids' health at the forefront. So we went out there knowing it was, maybe a 50-50 call, but we felt comfortable and had a nice night. Like we talked about football, as the day grew longer, it was nicer. So we felt good about it.
Friday night, once it hit about 8 o'clock, there was a nice breeze. The temperature dropped. It was it actually worked out great for everybody that competed on Friday night.
Sure did. I agree.
Let's go inside girls volleyball. Looks like they're traveling to Coleraine tonight, hosting the Wildcats of Deer Park in CHL play on Thursday. So a busy week for volleyball.
Definitely. And it was nice to get our first league win. Our first league opponent was Marymount last week, and played extremely well, won in 3 sets. So that was a good way to get the conference schedule going. And as you mentioned, we have some conference opponents here coming up, and we're excited to see what this volleyball team, both JV and varsity. JV looks like they're going to be really strong as well, but excited about varsity volleyball. They could really have a strong season, and here we go.
It's exciting. Field hockey, they've got their first victory of the season. Their season starts late because I'm guessing because there's so few teams. I'm guessing that they start later because there's so few teams. Got a victory over Oakwood, which is a tough club. And then this week, Monday and Thursday at Miami University, and at home against Fairmount on Thursday.
Yeah, Oakwood seems to be our rival in field hockey. We always, in my now 4th year, I feel like every game is a 1-goal game with them. And it was nice for JV to start it off with a 1-0 victory, and then varsity played a really nice game to win 1-0. And as you mentioned, we get to play on the wet turf at Miami University tonight at 6 o'clock against Talawanda. So that's a really neat place to play. And then on Thursday, we get to host Fairmont. So yeah, the season's off and going, and hopefully at the end of the week, we're talking about being 3-0.
That'll be a fun trip for the girls to go up to Oxford and play on that field. That'll be a great experience for them. Let's wrap up this week's show with girls tennis. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So St. Ursula, Turpin, and Springboro. So they're busy again this week, and they're just rolling.
Continue to play very tough opponents. This week will be tough as well. But back to the heat, we moved a match with Mason indoors at Camargo, and I had the opportunity to be there to watch that match, won 4-1. Our second doubles team came up a little bit short, but let me tell you, I'm going to say this every week. If you are at all a tennis fan, this team is worth coming to watch. They are so strong, so deep, so fun to watch. And, Mason year in and year out is a top team in Division One. They're going to have a chance to be there at the end of the season every year. And, to really just kind of dominate a team like that just shows, and they're good, just shows the strength of our team and what the season can be like for girls tennis here at Indian Hill.
Well, hopefully continued success for them, that they stay healthy and one match at a time. And it looks like it's going to be a historic season for them if they continue that way, Brian.
We sure hope so.
Before we wrap, a couple things to discuss, some business. The boosters have spiritwear on sale, and they can get that at indianhillbraves.org. I know what you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, every Wednesday, we call it Braves Line. That's our spirit store. So they're open at the baseball concession stand. That's their temporary location until their store will be up and running around the winter break. That's when the middle school's finished and their space is finished. So it's a great opportunity to support boosters, which supports all of our programs, arts, athletics, and other programs as well. But maybe even more importantly, it gets our community wearing our colors and our Braves gear. So we want you to come out, support Braves Line, buy some gear, show your spirit, whether it's a Friday night the next couple weeks or any of our other events. Come on out and check it out. Kristen Dunnebeck, who runs Braves Line and has a lot of help to do it, just is a great buyer. She gets some of the coolest stuff with the coolest designs. It's very kind of fresh type of stuff. So come out and check it out.
Sounds great. And then we'll wrap with talking about the proposed field house. I know you wanted to talk about anybody that may be interested in being a part of that to get in touch with you.
We're getting really close to meeting our goal to get this field house built on campus. 34,000 square foot facility. Still need help. We're not there yet. I would love the opportunity to sit down with families or groups of people to talk about what we're trying to do. This facility really is a community center and will benefit every kid, every family in our community, grades kindergarten through 12. Just really excited about what this could be. So fund the field house. Braves Day of Giving is September 29th. You can give before then. There's QR codes all over the place to give. So if it's a small donation and you want to give that way, great. If you want to meet and find out how it can be a taxable donation or, for your taxes, probably best to meet with me and we can walk through that.
Sounds great, Brian. Well, big things happen in Indian Hill, and continued success for everybody. Have a great week. Thank you for your time. We'll touch base next week, and go Braves.
Sounds great. Go Braves.